Hello again, Internet. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the states of New Mexico and when we can get it photographed, Hawaii. This is our preview of all the properties going live on the website for tomorrow, the final Friday of the month, June 26th, 2020. First off, guys, it was a crazy busy week of sales these past 7 days, so I want to thank all the people who bought land from us, as is our custom. Ashley, who picked up the last of our Black Mesa properties, thank you to her. Thank you to Joe, Tracy, and Ramon, each of whom bought property from us in Taos County. Stephen, Asia, and Lee, each of whom bought property from us in Socorro County, including those adjacent lots in Socorro. They're going fast, by the way. The 2 and the 3 acres are gone. The 4 acres is the only one that remains. I want to thank Dan, who bought some land from us in Hawaii. Tim and Rebecca, who bought not 1 but 2 properties from us in Luna County. And Marie, who bought not 1, not 2, but 3 properties from us in, respectively, Sandoval, Valencia, and Socorro counties. Thank you to all of them. As you can probably tell by the number of tabs I have open in my browser this week, it's going to be a busy week of premiering properties. We have 7 new properties going live on the website this week. Some of these, however, are just sort of backlog, things that I have had sitting around in inventory for a while. I have not gotten around to doing videos on. So finally, I worked up the energy and did a whole bunch of videos this week. So with that said, new properties premiering in, first off, Taos County. Guys, get this. Finally, we have down here at the bottom of Taos County, the very last one, a 1-acre property, TSNM 5796, priced affordably, I promise, at $3,000 for a 1-acre lot out there. As you guys know, these 1-acre lots are incredibly difficult to come by. You either need to find 4 adjacent quarter acres or 2 adjacent half acres, and that is exceptionally difficult. I have actually made a video for this property this week, which is less about the property itself than why the lack of adjacent lots is the case, because it is the most commonly asked question that you guys call and email about. Whatever the case, these 2 adjacent lots sit here off of Colorado Road. They straddle this area right here with legal easements on 3 sides, though 2 are easily defined here on the map. We're doing this thing now where I'm adding, we can't put plat maps on the website. We don't have digitized plat maps in Taos County, but at the very least, this representation of what the lot block structure is out there, how these things are arranged. These are the E and F lots. As you can tell by the highlights. Whatever the case, sits here off of Colorado. It's roughly about something like 1.7 miles just north of US Highway 64, but it's in Unit 3, so it's still, you're in the unit that you have these well-trafficked roads, so it shouldn't be that difficult to get out here. Also, you have homes in the area. Closer to the highway you get, the more you find that they have utilities at them. The rest usually are utilizing solar. This one sits about 1 mile north of these 2 properties, which are the last ones I can determine seem to have power lines extending out to them. So about 1 mile north of that. Whatever the case, as far as building goes out here, it's a hell of a lot easier to do whatever you want to do with a 1-acre piece of property than it is with a smaller property. Of course, you can still build on those. There's just more permitting hurdles that go into that, much less so with the 1 acre. So these are really coveted lots. They're very difficult for us to come by, and they tend to sell in a weekend, if not a day. So if this is something that you're interested in, I would highly encourage you to act sooner rather than later. By the way, guys, on the Taos County main page, the Trace Pieters main page, I just want to point out to you, because a lot of you missed this, but down here below the master list of properties, we have this FAQ section. If you have any questions about the Trace Pieters lots, I guarantee you there's nothing that you're going to call and ask me that isn't already asked and answered on this page. So I would highly encourage you, give this a read, give this a look-see, give it a once-over. It should answer whatever questions you have. As always, by the way, the master list of properties is linked right here. This new 1 acre is the only one we currently have in Unit 3, so it should be pretty easy to find. Whatever the case, you can come up here, you can click the GPS coordinates when they're active, bring it up on a map, study it that way, so on and so forth. Next up, 2 new properties. The last 2, I promised the last 2 listings we're going to have in Highland Meadows, at least for the foreseeable future. We've been selling a bunch of Highland Meadow lots this month, so I finally decided to put these up on the website. These are respectively VLNM 2127D and Q. They are 2.5 acres priced at $2,700 and 5 acres priced at $5,500. The $2,700 property is another one of these that's just right off of Highway 6 right here. There are underground utilities in this area over here and running up and down along the 6. So I'm not going to guarantee this, but they're close to the property, so you may have access to underground utilities out here. That's something you want to investigate, obviously, if you want to purchase this. But the point is, here's where it's situated. So, you know, a really good easement, really good access here to Highway 6. And even if you don't ever plan on building on the land, you just want to buy it for the purposes of like putting up a billboard or something, advertising your business, which sits in nearby wherever, Los Lunas or Mesita or whatever, it's a good property for those purposes. Additionally, the other property that we have, the 5-acre for $5,500. This is actually a combination of 4 adjacent 1¼ acre lots that sit right here, just south of Akron. Nearest power seems to be over here. I believe it's about 3/10 of a mile, something like that. Hang on. How about I just right-click and measure the distance? Hang on. Out to here, roughly about 1,500 feet, let's say. 1,500 feet to here or to this property, I think. This one looks abandoned. These are not. So whatever the case, if you do want to get power extended, if you are up for that challenge, that expense, it's probably going to be about 1,500 feet out to there. But it may actually not be as difficult or as expensive as we think. Who knows? Anyway, point being, 5-acre lot out here for $5,500. Next up, so as you guys know, Sandoval County is next up. As you guys know, about 1.5 years ago, we purchased a whole bunch of properties out in that subdivision. These are the last two. These are the last two that are still in inventory from the original 96 properties, roughly 60 listing acquisition that we did. These two have actually not been photographed before. I held off because they're kind of out in the boondocks. The first one, which is 07Y, if you click on the GPS coordinates, and we'll have all the corner points up here on the listing page tonight. You can see it is located, hang on a second, am I bringing up the right one? Yeah, here it is. Okay. Anyway, located out here off of Severn. It's got road access along all 3 sides, Progress, Harmony, and Severn. That being said, it's out in Unit 23, so you're going to get a sense here of exactly how far out this is. I mean, this is where development ends in Rio Rancho. So these properties are ideal for anybody who really likes privacy, for anybody who wants to, you know, there's things you officially can't do in Rio Rancho, you know, as far as like just camping on a property indiscriminately or parking an RV. That being said, when you get out here into this region, they don't seem to be paying as much attention. They don't seem to be scrutinizing landowners as much as they are in the more developed regions. So it's a good, you know, cheap property just to have that's out close to the gun range, out close to the power substation, where you can go camping. You can, you know, go out there in an RV on the property. You can, you know, probably go out there and shoot guns, do things that are, you know, not officially sanctioned in Rio Rancho, but nobody's going to know, and I doubt anybody will care. Blah, blah, blah. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, by the way, the Del Norte Gun Club is... Oh, good gravy, Marie. I can't even see it. It is up here on the map, Del Norte Gun Club. So the property, that's about the nearest landmark that you have to that, as well as the power substation out here. So this is also good if you work at one of these 2 places and you don't want to commute back and forth to Rio Rancho proper or, God forbid, Albuquerque. You can have a lot out here, which is none too far from those locations. By the way, the other property, which is 07Z, if we bring that one up on a map, you will see this one sits basically in about the exact same location, just sort of southeast of the power plant. The only real difference with this one, the only real discernible difference that I can advertise with this one is that out here where Encino meets 29th, I believe it's also called King, there is a power line out here. Power lines running along this area. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hang on. I'm sorry. Here we go. Encino and King right here. This is where the nearest power line is. So not too far from the property. You know, there may be some expectation if you call the power company, if you ask them to extend power out to the land, power poles, it might not be too expensive. That being said, both of these Rio Rancho properties are really more solar friendly than they are anything else. So solar being a good and probably logical alternative for that. Next up, we have in Cibola County. You know, guys, I got to tell you, our photographer goes out to these properties and he tries very, very hard to get good weather with nice clouds, and didn't happen in Cibola County. So not the world's most enchanting photos. Whatever the case, we have these are 2 properties out here in the Tierra Verde subdivision from our most recent acquisition. These will also be the last 2 in this subdivision for the foreseeable future, certainly at least until we start selling some of these. CBNM 001B and C. I'm going to have one video up on both listing pages tonight. These properties are pretty close together, though not adjacent. The B property is a corner lot. It has... You can't see the other road that sits to the south of it, but it has road access here and it has road access here. So we're calling it a corner lot. Anyway, it sits right here. If you look at this landmark right here, you're going to see that the C property sits right here. So both of them roughly pretty close together. I will also, of course, have driving directions up on these listing pages tonight. The benefit, of course, with these properties, as we have continually boasted in each of the listing pages, is that no regs, no rules, no HOAs, no dues. You're out in Cibola County where they have no formal zoning ordinance. They defer to the subdivisions, and this subdivision has no covenants, it has no restrictions, it has no HOA. And so, there's nobody making up new rules each week that you have to follow, things you can and cannot do with your land. And additionally, there's nobody, essentially taxing you some, additional HOA fee each month, each year for the property. Aside from county taxes, which on these 5-acre lots are a inexpensive $75, roughly $75, you have no additional fees with the land. So you can go out there, you can put up a hunting cabin, you can put up a tiny home, you can go RV and camp on the land for indiscriminate periods of time, and no one will ever say anything to you. That is the nice thing about these properties. Of course, they are a little remote, but they sit just on the edge of the Cibola National Forest. So that's why we say that they're good hunting properties. They're, good sort of staging area if you want to put up a hunting cabin. You and the guys go out there on the weekend. You separate at whatever 6 in the morning, whenever hunters leave the house. I don't know. And you each go your separate ways, go hunt, come back here at the end of the night, stay the night, and go out the next morning and hunt some more. It's a good property for that sort of thing, etc. Anyway, with all that said, everybody, thanks for watching. These are the 7 properties going live on the website this week. I promise we're going to have more coming next week, actually, in Rio Rancho. We have got, if you look at the spreadsheet, which is mostly blue at this point, if you look at that spreadsheet, it is 3 new properties, all of them over 2 acres. So they're way down at the bottom of the spreadsheet, but got some really large pieces of acreage going live next week. And we're buying more in Tres Piedras because you guys keep buying from us. So we're going to keep restocking out there, and that will either be next week or the week after. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in next week's video. My weekend begins in 3, 2, 1.